Hi, my loves. It's Danielle Mercurio, and I wanted to update you around what is going on energetically. Clearly, we have a lot going on. And to be honest, we are really in the midst of wrapping up a cycle that started back in the fall of 2016. So, in November of 2016, here in the US, we started a new cycle with a new person being elected president, someone that we did not see coming for many of us, right? The other side thought they had it in the bag. There were all these things that were in place that didn't come to fruition. And we were kind of left with this feeling, this understanding, this confusion of now what? Where do we go from here? And that's literally what these last 4 years have been all about. Where do we go from here? But along the way of trying to figure out where do we go from here, a lot got brought to the surface. Because in order for us to make any kind of transition, in order for us to move on in any fashion, whether it be an upgrade, an elevation, a transformation, a fresh start, whatever it is that you're looking for, everything that gets in the way from that fully actualizing comes up to the surface. So these last 4 years have been a mirror for a lot of our tendencies, for a lot of our old programming, for a lot of old timelines that cannot operate into where we are going in the future. I hate to break it to you, but as soon as 2021 hits, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden, oh yay, 2020 is over, okay? And I don't say this to give you more bad feelings or whatnot, right? We want to start looking at the tools and the signs and everything that are happening as ways to be more informed, as ways to be more aware. But at the end of the day, what I want you to hold on to, what I want you to lean into is your faith, is your God, is your divine source that you tap into, that higher power, that universe, whatever you want to call it. Because at the end of the day, that is your everything. Okay? Astrology is a big thing for me, but I want you to know that astrology is not my everything. At the end of the day, astrology is my tool. It is my guide. It is my way to inform. It is my way to educate. It is a way to make sense of things. But when I really need support, when I really need to trust in something, I don't go to my horoscope. I go to my God. And so how are you going to your God right now? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how you are getting caught up in everything around you. What's on social media? What's on your horoscope app? What's on this affirmation card? What's on this number that you keep seeing over and over and over again? Those are all very important, but they were given to you by your God. I want you to recognize that. I want you to see that. I want you to trust in that. The divine, what I believe, gave us this earth. And with this earth, we got a solar system. And with that solar system, it creates celestial tracking. And it does it with this thing called the zodiac wheel. And the zodiac wheel relates to certain personas and ways that we show up as humans on this earth. And when we track those patterns, when we look to see what is going on up in that cosmic sky, we get a better understanding of what to do here. But we don't want to be looking at those patterns as a bad thing. And I'll admit, when I saw what was going down for 2020, there was a part of me that was like, ooh, that's a lot. And maybe what we started doing in 2020, whether it's astrology or the pandemic or the economy, we started to look to it as it's all falling apart. This is bad. This is not good. What's coming up next? I can't take this much more. And we kind of have set a prophecy for this year to just be a shit show. And it is. So we kind of have to let it be. But at the same time, if we're going to move into, regardless of what happens next week, we need to look at how we're going to handle the upcoming year. Because again, it's not like the ball is going to drop at 2020 and we're going to hit 2021 and the last year was just a mirage and it all fades away and we feel great again. We are going to be using the upcoming year and honestly the upcoming 4 years to rebuild from where 2020 left us. And if we don't have the right attitude, if we don't have the right perspective, if we are relying too heavily on the tools and not the source that provided us those tools, we are going to continue to stay in this kind of sensory overload. Okay, when I say sensory overload, it means that we are giving too much of our energy away. And when we give too much of our energy away, we start to feel scattered. We start to feel leaky. We start to feel like we don't have a sense of boundaries. We feel like we're at the mercy of what's happening around us. We cling to our survival based on feedback and validation from other people and other sources. And that's not sustainable. Okay. So some things that we want to take note of is, of course, placing boundaries and then honoring those boundaries. How many times have you created a boundary and that person honored it, or you decide to take time off your phone, and then all of a sudden you're like sitting around and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to go on Instagram. I said I was going to take Sunday off. Now what? Or why isn't that person reaching out to me? I told them not to reach out to me. All they do is reach out to me, and now they're not. And now I don't know what to do with myself. That's the sweet spot right there. That sweet spot of space that you create for yourself is where you get intel to go deeper. Okay, and does not be in this space of mindlessly scrolling or mindlessly being of service to others or mindlessly entertaining yourself and distracting yourself with everything going on, and giving yourself the opportunity to claim your energy. In the midst of what is happening, you want to show up and do your part and be of service, but then you want to claim what's yours and what you're willing to say yes to, and being so clear about what you're saying no to, literally and energetically. One thing that I've been advising to my clients is claim your energy at the end of the day. So what's happening right now is our system is processing a lot, and it's all over the place. And it's all over the place because of everything that's going on, and also because of technology. So what's happening is we don't even realize it, but we're depositing energy all over the place. So you're depositing your energy when you go to the grocery store. You're depositing your energy when you go on Instagram. You're depositing your energy when you're texting someone. You're depositing your energy when you go into work, or whatever those exchanges are. All day long, you are depositing your energy everywhere. And then we go to bed and we can't sleep and our mind is racing. We don't know why, or we have erratic dreams, or we wake up in the morning and we don't feel that great. We don't really feel like moving forward with the day. We're getting tired. We're getting run down. Why? Because your energy is spread literally across the entire globe. And so what can you do to start claiming your energy? Well, one of the things is simply at the end of the day, maybe a little bit before you go to bed, you take a few breaths and you say, I take back all my energy. Wherever it was dispersed, wherever it got scattered, I bring it all back to me. Okay, that's you taking in your power, because otherwise it's going to start to manifest in weird ways. It's going to start to manifest in raining havoc on your peace, bleeding into, just, you're going to notice it in a lot of ways that aren't pleasant. Okay, and that's just because your energy is erupting and manifesting in all these different ways. And again, I don't say this to scare you. I say this to empower you in a way that you have. When we feel like we don't have a sense of control, then that's the beautiful opportunity to, of course, drop in prayer and get our center back. And then once we get that sense of center, then we reclaim our energy. Okay? Because otherwise, if we drop our energy somewhere and someone else picks it up and now it's going somewhere else, like let's say you put your energy accidentally in someone else's cart, and then next thing you know, your energy is going home with that person. What? How did you get into their house, right? And you're like playing out energy in their life, in their field, when you don't really need to, right? So these are some things that we want to think about that we don't realize we do. So creating boundaries in that way, pulling in your energy. You can do it at the end of the day. And then also when you wake up in the morning, say like, okay, I'm complete. I'm starting off this day complete. I'm starting off this day whole. I'm going to hold on to my energy as best I can. Again, you're not going to tiptoe around life and walk on eggshells, but you're just going to be a little bit more mindless or mindful of how you've been mindlessly spending your time. If you're just scrolling, that's what they want you to do. They want you to scroll. They want you to check out. They want you to be distracted. They want you to feel numb, because the more that you feel numb, the more you can buy into the prophecy of whatever somebody else's agenda is. And you're not here for that. You're not here for that. You're here to make your own choices and your own decisions and be discerning of how you want to show up. Okay? But in order to do that, we gotta reel it in. Also, another thing that we have a tendency to do is we keep helping people thinking it'll minimize our stress. How many times have you ever like said yes to something because you thought it would be less stressful to say yes? You've done that before. You're like, oh, I really don't want to do this, but this person's on my back and I really don't want to say no to them. You know what? It's going to be less stressful if I say yes and just do the thing. But does that really help manage your stress? Does that really work out in the end for you? And what happens is we're just duplicating that over and over again. We're continuing to put ourselves in stressful situations. We'll complete the stressful situation. We'll have a moment of relief, and then the cycle repeats again. So I want you to notice too, for reoccurring situations where you're saying yes because you're convincing yourself that that will relieve the stress, as opposed to having those uncomfortable moments where you have to say no. And they may feel stressful in that moment, but you end the cycle. You drop that timeline of I say yes to situations like this, and instead create space for new things that you want to draw in. Okay, like we have to realize that a lot of our old programming is just continuously reoccurring, when that's why we're not getting ahead. We're running these old stories on repeat, and we don't know why we're not moving forward. Well, we've got to cut off that old story and say no more to this, and then open up into creating a new one and a new pattern that you want to move forward in. If you ever hear people talk about like grid work, what does that mean? Grids. Well, what we're doing is we're saying like this old pattern, this old timeline, this old program, this old story no longer serves me. It's not working. I don't want this to be my operating system anymore. So I'm going to kill it, right? It's got a virus. It's, you know, whatever it may be. I was watching Independence Day, and that's how they took down the aliens. They had to give the aliens a virus so that it would shut down. It's almost like we have to give ourselves a virus so that we can shut down, but you can't let other people give you a virus, right? But like where I'm going with this essentially is, where are you replaying old systems over and over again where you don't realize it, or you'll just be like, I'm just going to say yes this one time to get a sense of relief, but then it really doesn't serve you. And then the pattern repeats. Let's end those patterns so then we can create a new pattern. Creating a new pattern is, what do you want to see on repeat in your life? What kind of opportunities, what kind of partnerships, what kind of people, situations do you want your life to be moving into? And it doesn't just have to be material, but it can also be feelings of empowerment, feelings of wealth, feelings of health that become, you know, a new way of moving forward. So a lot of this also has to do with, you know, what's coming up astrologically. We are in the midst of a lot of retrogrades. The two big ones are the Mercury retrograde. Mercury is now retrograding out of Scorpio and into Libra, okay? And it's going to be retrograding until noon on November 3rd, noon Eastern Standard Time. So in the middle of election day, Mercury will go direct, okay? And it's going to go direct it's going to retrograde in Libra and then go direct in Libra. Libra is the scales, balance, justice, rectifying what has been out of alignment, okay? Huge, huge. And so what we're seeing right now is all of these old kind of timelines being shown to us. There's a reason why you're getting a lot of flashbacks, why your system seems to be heightened, why so much is triggering you. Okay, we're in a little bit of a triggering zone. And these triggers are meant to be showing up for you to say like, I'm not gonna push this button anymore. I'm not gonna let this trigger me. Get out of here. I'm going to push the right buttons that move us forward. And through pushing those right buttons, then as Mercury goes direct on the 3rd, we see more alignment move forward, collectively and individually. What that's fully going to look like, we don't know. And we have to trust in, you know, the divine plan of how this is all going to unfold. But these are suggestions based on what is happening. Further, Mars retrograde is still happening. Mars is all about the reversal of power. Okay, so again, we're seeing where our power is out of alignment, where we are giving our energy away, where we are too scattered, where we are, you know, misaligned, why we feel tired so much, why, you know, our immunity is down, why, you know, we're not feeling fulfilled with our life. Well, it's likely because you're out of alignment with your truth. The reason why we often feel depleted is because something isn't right. It's not just because you're just randomly having a bad day. Yeah, they happen, right? We all kind of have one of those days where you're like, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe I didn't clear my energy the night before and it was kind of wonky, but now I'm feeling better. I don't know what that was. One of those 24-hour things. But then there's other times where you're just constantly feeling like something's wrong. Something's out of alignment. Your energy is not right. Well, that's because there is something that you are denying within your truth. There is something within your soul path that you aren't allowing to come to fruition. And that might be because of fear. That could be because of the old patterns that are playing, and every time you're trying to move forward, the old pattern is presenting itself. And so if that's happening to you, what kind of nourishment do you need? Do you have time to hit the pause button right now? This is a great time to hit pause. If you need some time off, I'm encouraging you to do it now. This is such a nice window from now until mid-November to take time off. And now it doesn't mean walk away from the world completely, because that's not always great either. Sometimes taking 100% time off for a long period of time sounds good in theory, but then if we don't fully recognize why we needed that time off, when we jump back in, our old patterns show back up again. So for example, like I know a lot of times people will do like an Instagram detox. So they'll be off Instagram for a week, they feel great, and then they get back on again. Next thing they know, they're sucked in, they're addicted. They're right back in it because they never really addressed what the issue was when they go into that Instagram. And so take time off, but also focus on when I come back in, how will things be more balanced? And the Libra components of the Mercury shifts right now will help you with that. So that when you take that week off of Instagram, cool. But what's your game plan for when you get back? How often will you be using it? What do you notice that you're so addicted to? Why did it get so out of hand in the first place? What are those things that you can minimize, right? Like for me, I used to do this thing where, you know, I would just refresh over and over and over again to see who liked my posts. That's all I did. Every 5 minutes, I'd go in and hit refresh. Do I really need to be doing that? No, not at all. But I realized that that's an old pattern of mine to feed something in me, to feed a sense of feeling validated, to feed a sense of feeling whole and complete. But refreshing Instagram isn't going to get that for me. My soul doesn't really care about that. It's like, no, that's not really what we meant when we say we want to be fueled and lit up. And so recognizing like I'm allowed to go into Instagram and refresh twice a day. That's it. And it creates a little bit of a boundary, but I didn't realize that. And that's why I would take time off, come back in and be like, why is it depleting me again? That's why, right? So that's one way to manage some of our taking time off and then coming back in again, right? So that's one perspective. Other things that we want to note that are happening is the full moon is coming up. So on October 31st, we are having a Halloween full moon. And what's special about it is every once in a blue moon, we have two major moon phases in a month. So on October 1st, we had the full moon in Aries. Now October 31st, we're having the full moon in Taurus. What I like about this, so astrologically, it doesn't really mean anything because astrology doesn't use the same calendar that we use. Astrology, the new year is on, I was gonna say 420, on 320. So 320 is the astrological first day of the year. So having two full moons in a month doesn't mean anything astrologically, but we can look at it in other ways symbolically. Having two full moons in this month means you get a second chance to release what isn't serving you. Typically, you only get one chance a month to do that with the full moon. This month, you get two. So what is it that you've observed over the last 4 weeks, and even in a testament to what I've been talking about, that just isn't working for you? What are those old operating systems? What are these patterns? What are these reoccurring themes that you don't want to keep agreeing to? This is what we let go of. I love that we say it's once in a blue moon. The blue moon, blue, our throat chakra, speaking up, being in our truth, okay? I created a really simple full moon meditation for you to do to work with this energy as well. I made it very simple because I want you to be in the space of restoring, being really clear, having full use of your energy. Also, I will take you through a process where we clear what's called your light body or your energetic body and kind of getting anything out that's stuck or stagnant. Because if you try to manifest or do anything under this full moon without clearing your energy, it's going to continue to be scattered. Same thing if you have a full moon altar that you use, or certain things in your house. Really make sure they're clear. Really make sure that they're solid. I would even say, like, again, this full moon, keep it very clean, very simple, because there's so much going on outside of us, and we can only take care of ourselves in so many ways. And so again, this upcoming week, I really want us to be mindful, because we are going to be in a little bit of a sensory overload. And if that's the case, and we're working with the full moon and we're working with our energy, it's less about what we want to manifest and more about what we want to clear out. Okay, what do we need to release from our energetic body? What do we want to let go of? Okay, we're not worried about what we're calling in, because there's nothing that you really want to call in right now. There's not. The only thing that you want to call in is more empowerment for yourself and the good of the greater collective. Okay, those are things that we really want. But otherwise, keep it streamlined. Be really mindful. of any teachers that you work with. Don't just kind of opt in and say yes to someone's thing without really knowing who they are or where they're coming from. There's a lot of snakes in the system that are going to kind of be in between the cracks during this upcoming week. And so we want to be really mindful around who we're confiding in. Again, I just say this from a space of trust yourself. That's what this week is about. And this time right now that we're in. Can you trust yourself more than you trust me, more than you trust your teacher, more than you trust anything, really? Can we get to that place, especially next year when the Aquarian age becomes more actualized, where we recognize that you are, in fact, the best resource you have? It's you and your connection to spirit. That's the best thing that you could ever have. That is the best lesson in spirituality. It is the best tool. It is the best alignment. It is the best ascension. It is the best everything. It just is. It's the best teacher. It's everything you need. Everything you need is held in your connection and your faith to your source, to your divine. And the more that you can honor that, the more that then you start to become empowered, the more you start to feel connected and grounded and rooted. And the more that you can trust who you are, the more you can claim that energy and the less scattered you'll be. And then you can go to teachers, go to different people that have opinions and insight and are able to gather information that sits well with you and supports you. But at the end of the day, you are the one that is calling the shots. You are the one that is discerning of what's best for you. You are the one that gives consent to where your energy goes, who you're giving money to, how you're doing all of that. Okay. So I really want you to be mindful of. That's why, again, I even made my full moon meditation very simple, because I just want to give you something where you feel held and supported, and you're in a container where I can help you release things. And then you start to understand how to take it from here. Because if we're constantly relying on teachers and healers, which we need, right? Like that's the thing. It's like we're in an interesting spot, because healers and teachers need to step up now more than ever. I've been saying that for a year now. At the same time, they need to step up in a way that empowers you to understand how to do it too. Does that make sense? Hopefully you're kind of following in that way and understanding that the individuals that you're going to for guidance should be mirroring the guidance that you can start to give to yourself. And there's a duality that happens, right? So yeah, that's one thing too. So the full moon is happening, like I said, on Halloween at 10:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's kind of our second chance to release, to get things out. There's going to be a really nice kind of energetic gateway that will pull all the fragmented bits of your being, but you have to let it go. You have to say, like, hey, I'm going to clear this. I'm going to stop this cycle from reoccurring. And then I'm going to embody it, and I'm going to practice it, and I'm going to keep moving it forward. A lot of times, and myself included, I've done certain things and I've fallen back again because I didn't quite trust it. I didn't quite believe it. I didn't quite clear everything. And that's all right. This is a journey, right? We're in a process. If we were meant to be perfect and have it all figured out, you wouldn't be here. You'd be done. Okay. So we're not done learning. We're not done evolving. We're not done clearing our entire lives. However, the more you do it, the more it just makes good sense. That's the best way I'll put it. So again, I want to give you my love, my good grace for you during these times. You're doing the best you can. You're doing amazing. I have high hopes for where we are going. At the same time, I'm not expecting a miracle to happen overnight. I see this as an evolution. I see this as a process. And I see that we are all here for a reason. And we're all showing up now. And there's a reason why you and I are connected. And I'm here for that. I honor that. I trust that. And so just realize you are important. You matter. I appreciate you. And if there's anyone that you feel would resonate with what I've been sharing, definitely tag them in the comments below. And let's continue to spread this message. Let's work together for the full moon. And if there's anything else you need, I'm here for you. I'm going to continue to share messages as they feel good to me, and really coming from the place of my truth, and even not getting caught up in some of the things that it's easy for my human egoic mind to get caught up in, right? Even with astrology, I was getting a little bit burnt out because I was kind of fixating on this idea of being like the weather forecaster. And it's like, that's not my full role with astrology. And so just kind of navigating my own way as I do. Anyway, I adore you. If you're interested in the full moon, you can either pre-order it or order it live when it becomes available Friday evening through the link in my bio. Again, please share this out if this feels good for you, and continue to be discerning with your energy. Do the rituals at night where you claim everything back, you pull back in that scattered energy, and then in the morning, you continue to feel complete and take ownership of your day as you move forward. And we got this, okay? We really, really do. Love you.